Good day. This is Aging Maven Aficionado, Amy K. Gaskin. And today I am joined with Family CareSpace President and founder Jonathan McCoy. He's a good friend of mine. I've known him for many years, met him at church. So I'm excited to have him on my show today. Welcome, Jonathan, and welcome to Ask Amy About Aging.
This is kind of neat. Thank you very much for inviting me. We speak so often that I guess it came up in conversation the other day. We were talking about the staffing challenges in the market, the healthcare, care delivery. Oh my gosh, every aspect, from assisted living through to the hospital world. And Amy thought, you know what, you might want to get on Ask Amy and speak to this. So I'm looking forward to sharing that today.
Yes, I'm so excited. Why don't you tell everyone a little bit about yourself and what got you into the senior industry?
Sure. I've been involved with technology. I've got a background in business and information systems, and spent most of my career up to the point when I moved into senior living in the technology world, basically applying technology for various scenarios and situations. So it's not like buying something off the shelf.
Right.
And was able to work with so many great companies. But I had kind of got to a place in my life where I felt there was something more that I needed to do. I wasn't sure what it was. A lot of prayer, discernment, asking folks that I respected their opinions and thoughts. And that discernment process led me to senior living. And one of the fundamental driving forces behind it was when I got an up close look, I saw some things I thought I could add to help. And that's really the foundation behind Family CareSpace.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk a little bit about some staffing issues, which is at the heart of many problems of senior living communities and home care agencies. And then maybe we can also discuss ways that you might think that can help the staffing issues. So why don't you tell everyone a little bit about that?
Well, I mean, I really looked at Amy, you're frozen. I think, is this, should we redo something here or just keep on
going?
No, we're
not frozen. Just keep going.
Okay. So when I looked at the environment within senior living, within the traditional assisted living companies primarily, that had a section for the memory impaired lockup area, I really was struck by a couple of things. One, how hard the staff worked. There was just a tremendous amount of tasks. They were moving quite a bit, most of them, at least in the experiences of seeing these various places. And then I looked at the design principles behind Alzheimer's and dealing with memory loss, and saw that many of them weren't even close to following some of the known benefits in environments, how they're built to help those folks. So it was really an eye opener for me, and I started to apply the analytical side to that, and the foundation for Family CareSpace came out of that in the process of building my own assisted living memory care environment. So I had the luxury, in a way, I would say burden in some senses, of having a community where we were able to try out, work with this innovative environment where we had real-time location. So staff knew where each other were. And this was important because I thought it might be the challenging part of getting staff to adopt it, right? Mm-hmm. So when we originally started out, we had about 67% of the staff wearing their badge. And the badge would indicate where they are in the building, what room at any point in time. And it would also be tied to a mobile app called Care Provider, where they can look at their app and they can see where everybody else is in the building, the other staff members, residents, any key assets are needed. So we put that in place to help them out and to start to see how is this going to work out. 67% wore their badges, followed what we would like them to do. That wasn't, good enough. And
right.
we spent time dealing with feedback every week from the staff. We did stand-up meetings, so we got a lot of good feedback. One key incident occurred where it went from 67 to virtually everybody. It was when a staff member, she would have lost her job if she didn't have somebody show up very quickly. Her hands were full. She was in a situation where she was tending to a resident, and this big, large gentleman who just moved into the community came in, and he basically wanted to go through them out the window. She hit her badge, her alert button on her badge with her knuckle because her hands were tied up with stuff. And right outside the room, one of the staff members, their phone buzzed, and there's the alert. Everyone got the alert. It's immediate when you hit the button, sub-second. And so she said, "Oh, I'm right near this suite. I'll just go in and I'll help Donna, the care staff." This all happened in a matter of seconds, and Donna was able to not have to deal with this guy coming any further. The person that came in the room to help redirected him out very quickly. And that helps with staff saying, "Hey, this has got my back. This thing really works." And she shared that with the staff members, and as I say, it virtually went to everybody getting it. But one of the things I learned about that I found most interesting, Amy, is when it comes to staff, the staff that I witnessed in these various settings, various buildings, some run better than others, is an amount of time that's spent doing non-care activity, like looking for people, looking for key assets needed, like a shower chair, looking for another resident, or dealing with something and they need to, on the dime, change where they're going and try to find someone else. And these buildings aren't small, most of them.
Yeah.
So it increases the amount of time per day. We had some folks tell us they thought upwards to 20% of their day was spent looking for other people, things that are necessary, residents or events, and where they are, that kind of thing. So we virtually eliminated that with this mobile piece to this. But that's so important that the staff have to feel, well, they've got so much on their plate. Let's take the non-essential stuff off, right? Let's free up time to give care. So that was an important part of staff attraction, right? Make them more efficient and happy being that way too. And the other element of this, which was I found really cool, the third shift, we had a star performer. Everyone knew she was a really good staff member. And then the other guys, they always handed off to the shift in the morning. All the tasks were done. But when we were looking at some of the data, the real-time location system gives us that ability to see that. We could tell a couple of the staff members were spending a lot of time in the physiotherapy couch, right? So, well, I mean, they're napping, whatever, right? But they weren't, there was a lot to do in the third shift to make the first shift effective. So we found this data out. The executive director met with the staff members. One of them, I understood, left, and the other one stayed, but somewhat different type of arrangement. And we didn't lose the star employee. We found out that she was on her way out the door. She was tired of covering for them because she would do their work, right?
Well, that's what happens in communities. They cover for one another because they want to get the work done, but then they get burnt out. Why should I do it all and have no one else do it? And that's one of the things that I like most about Family CareSpace, because it lets staff shine. The good staff shines. Yeah. And frees up time to give them more interaction with the residents, et cetera.
Oh, perfectly said. Well said. One of the things that I found interesting, you use the word or the term burnout, right? When we were doing requirements, we're sitting down with care staff and sitting down with operators and sitting down with the regulators, some people from New Hampshire, which is where I'm based, and people in Massachusetts as well, in Maine, this whole area. But we're gathering information about what are the top concerns, right? If they could just, and again, we're not employer, there's none of that. We let them speak freely. Everyone's anonymous. And by far, the conversation starts with burnout.
It
They
does.
talk about, I'm either burnt out or I'm watching somebody burn out. I'm afraid that's going to happen to me. One of the people, if I remember correctly, had talked about they were expected to be burnt out, like it's part of the plan. Until they're burnt out, then they got a job,
Right.
and that's really unnerving, right?
Yeah, it's not the way to get a senior industry to grow at all.
Yeah. And so this is staff telling me about the environment that they're in. The other part of it was they're not, most of them, I mean, everyone can say we're worth more money than we are always, but
Right.
in this profession, there's a chronic underpaid perception by the staff.
Right.
Whether that's true, I'm inclined to believe that compensation should be better there, but there's definitely that as a point that's brought up. And the other item that came from our analysis or from our surveying of care staff was the training is lacking,
Hmm.
and new things happen before they understand it, and they're supposed to do things without the training.
Right.
So that's a very big source of frustration. So how do when I think of staff, you want to attract them to your business, you want to retain them, right? And you want to look at them as an integral part of the family, right? These
Right.
are not casual folks you burn out, right? These are people that as they age working, they still remain connected in one way or another, right? They're spending
Hmm.
the bulk of their day at this environment. So there should be a nice, healthy understanding as people progress through their life. There's different ways that we communicate or link. So having that holistic view
Right.
of work is so important, especially because this is one of the most challenging jobs. I mean, I just take my hat off, and I am so humbled and honored if I can help, right?
Right.
Because the hearts that these folks have are huge. And
Just being in the senior living industry, if you don't have a passion for it, you don't last long. And so that's why the people in the industry, I mean, they're always hugging involved in everything. There is a special breed of people that are in senior living that work with vulnerable populations. And we need to make sure that the environment they work in is safe for them as well as the residents, staff, patients, everybody.
well, you said safety, and that's when we talked about it. I mentioned that it was the burnout was an
Mhm.
issue. Another element of that was the training issue, which is tied directly to safety, and to be in an environment where you know what to do, especially when many people are relying on you, but you haven't been trained,
Right.
and so you're left in a position of, fly by the seat of your pants. And that's a very uncomfortable position. So we looked at that feedback and we thought, well, there's ways to address these things. On the safety side, for example, we have an ability to create customized alerts around specific situations and residents and staff.
Hmm.
So, for example, if you have two staff, or rather two residents that may have had an altercation before, we would be able to alert the staff whenever those two individuals are in the same room. So they can
Right.
go there, they can monitor it, right? They don't have to deal with all of the non-care time if there is an altercation and they've got to file a report, right? And then they're involved with that whole process. So the ability to create the environment where the staff members feel safe, they feel like they've got the system has their back. I mean, I've heard that so many times, but they know that they're getting good information on their care provider app, the alerts and notifications. These are helpful things to deal with that. Very, very important. And in Donna's case, where this big guy came in, he was going to go through them. I mean, my gosh, if she didn't have, I mean, this is when she talked about what occurred in the
Hmm.
stand-up meeting the following Friday. I think it happened on a Monday. Um, she was in tears. She said, in my previous community, that gentleman would have came right through us, probably hurt us, and the family would be really upset that their mom had
Right.
all that, and the community, whether it's right or wrong, a lot of times the care staff are the folks that have to go.
Yeah, because otherwise, it's a big game changer for senior living communities. And next time you come on, I hope that you do a demo on exactly how it works to show people, because let me tell you, this is a definite game changer for senior living communities, especially in terms of retaining staff, etc.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah.
great. I look forward to that, Amy. There's so much. We're just scratching the surface.
Oh, I
It's
know. We
exciting.
have about 15, 20 shows we could absolutely do together to talk about different issues that are in the senior living world. So thanks again for appearing on my show today, and I look forward to having you again next time. And again, this is Aging Maven Aficionado, Amy K. Gaskin, and I was joined by Jonathan McCoy today of Family CareSpace. And have a great day.